What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant. Hope everybody's doing good, living life. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so those of you who have your Valentine's, good for you. Also, to hell with you. For those of you who are single people, it's like, stand strong. This is not a we don't like this holiday. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't care. It is one of those things I'm like, isn't that what anniversaries and marriage and being with that person is for? Birthdays, to express your love then. You have to do it on a random day in February. Who cares? But anyways, we're not talking about Valentine's Day and all that nonsense. We are talking about this movie that I think was marketed only recently. Like, this is a movie I only heard about like maybe a couple months ago. It's a movie from Bleecker Street, which is very similar to A24 in certain aspects, where they kind of deal with like dark movies and stuff like that. No pun intended. We are literally talking about the latest thriller, Out of Darkness, and that stars a bunch of actors I have never heard of before, really, or
me neither,
or seen in much. Like for instance, the main character, he's played by I'm probably gonna say this wrong. I apologize. Modu, who is in Game of Thrones, I guess, as a Dothraki warrior. Don't really remember that too much, or I kind of think I do, but there was a lot of Dothrakis in that episode, on that show here and there, so hard to remember them all. Kit Young, Safia Oakley-green, Iola Evans, Luna Mwezi. Like, again, very random actors and stuff, but this is a non-spoiler review as well, so please, if you do like this video, give us a like, ring the bell to stay up to date with notifications, and of course subscribe. We appreciate you all and just want to keep this going. I know it's a slow movie season right now, but bear with us. There's some good stuff coming out, soon. Soon is the best way I could put it. So essentially it's a prehistoric thriller in which a group of early humans, I don't know if they're Cro-Magnon man, I forgot the terminology specific with early humans, early Homo sapiens or something like that.
I was going to say, I think just like Homo sapiens in general, I don't know.
Well, because Homo sapiens is all humans, so it's kind of like, it's one of those things, what were they called? But I remember watching like Discovery Channel stuff, like Cro-Magnon man was a part of that, but I don't know if that qualifies to them. But anyways, essentially it's a very, very small tribe of Homo sapiens that arrived to this new land, trying to find shelter and make a new home, essentially. But little do they know, in this unknown land, there is something that is hunting them down and basically just making mincemeat out of them, Again, no pun intended. And that's basically as far as I can go without spoiling it too much. So yeah, and this isn't, and even though it's prehistoric and stuff, there were some early they did use an early language. I did look it up on what they were speaking. I forgot what it's called, but it's based on another, like the very first language known to man.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. At least there's some dialogue. It's all subtitled though, so if you don't like subtitle movies, you uncultured swine, maybe not be for you. But yeah, so I was going into it thinking, like, how are they going to go about this? Are they going to go supernatural? Is it going to be a very grounded thriller? And again, not going to spoil it for you, but it did have some intense moments where there is some genuinely horrifying stuff. It reminded me very much of, like, if 10,000 BC and The Witch had a baby, this is what would come from it. Where 10,000 BC was a garbage movie, but prehistoric, and The Witch had some genuinely horrifying moments where it really built up the horror. So that's what this movie kind of did in certain scenes. Overall, though, I think it was just okay. Like, I think the cinematography was A+ for this movie. That is something that I will not crap on whatsoever. There were some great shots. The lighting was very well done, so, because it is meant to be, like the title, Out of Darkness. There are a lot of dark moments in this because there's no real lights anywhere. It's just whatever fire you have, that is the only light you will have for probably maybe not even a mile. And I think the costume design was great. Like, I think the clothing they had was definitely believable from, like, for the most part, very practical. And the actors, I think, did a good job. Like the guy I mentioned from Game of Thrones, Chukwumodu, he was great. The guy who played his brother, Kit Young, the guy's name was Gur in the movie. He was also very well done. But I think the best one for me was Safia Oakley-green, who played Bea. I think she really stood out. Very similar to Amber Midthunder's Naru in Prey. So if that gives you guys anything to go off of, that's basically it. Other than that, everybody else was solid. It It was just okay. I kind of was hoping it'd be a little bit scarier, but you can only do so much with the story. But what did you think about this, Burn?
Yeah, so coming into it, I was a little tepid, coming in thinking it was going to be a lot along the lines of a early horror movie that came out last year with 65. The Andrew, not the Andrew, the Adam Driver. Prehistoric horror movie that came out last year, which was not good. It was very disappointing to say the least.
Don't bring up that movie to me, Burn. I was so disappointed by that movie. Not real quick. Not that I expected it to be great. I wanted to enjoy it, and I didn't even get that. Okay, so that movie frustrates me, and I'm sorry, Bern. Continue with your thoughts, please.
Yeah, so coming into this one, I was like, okay, an early man horror movie. This can go either way. It could be that one, or it could be something good, like you mentioned, like The Witch or something like that. So yeah, for me, I was pleasantly surprised with how much I did end up enjoying this one. Coming into it with those expectations, it being a Paleolithic horror movie is something we don't really get a lot. And so, coming into it's like, okay, that's got an interesting premise at least. But yeah, and as you mentioned, the real star of the movie is definitely the cinematography. It was filmed in Scotland. I had to look it up because the movie just looks so gorgeous. Yeah, definitely made really good use of lighting. I'm glad that you pointed that out. With it taking place, in the Paleolithic era, it's like, yeah, there's not a lot of unnatural sources of light. So you really have to work with what you've got there. And, use the use of firelight, the use of, the movie, it seems like it takes place a lot during the dusk and dawn, which are very dimly lit times of day. So to be able to film it with as well as it did, that real credit to the cinematographer here. And it's just the way they staged all of that was really good. And really adds to the tension of the movie, which is, the fear of the unknown, what is out there, where is it a creature, what is this thing that is stalking us and taking us out one by one, so it really added to the tension in that aspect. So I thought they did a really good job of that. As you mentioned, Safia Oakley-green, this is definitely her movie. She does a lot with what she's got here, and she's the real standout, I think. And the Amber Mint Thunder comparison is perfect because she does really take on this very physical role. And I thought she did a really good job with it. And yeah, as you mentioned, the adding of the made up language that they sort of made in sort of a reference to a very early languages was really cool. It being subtitled added to the atmosphere. And that's how I'll describe this movie. It's very atmospheric centric. A lot of the horror elements come from just the building of the tension and the setting and how it all works together. So I thought they did a really good job of that. Where the movie falters for me is sort of the reliance on the cheap jump scares. Unlike you, I'm very sensitive to horror movies, so even the worst possible things, like the cheapest things, always get me. So it got me in that sense. I really felt that they should have leaned more on the tone and the atmosphere instead of just relying on the loud noise, just to get a scare out of you, which was a little disappointing, and I feel is a little bit amateurish in that sense. The character is also a little bit one note. I get it, this movie is very lean and mean, so you can't really explore them too much. But everyone so far, at least outside of Sophia Oakley-Green's character, didn't have too much dimension to them. So I really wish they could have explored that a little bit more. But yeah, other than that, I thought the movie was fairly solid. And yeah, as you mentioned, doesn't really do too much to sort of set itself apart outside of the setting and the cinematography. I think and the costumes too. The costumes were really well done.
Yeah, and to your point, Bern, I also do hate jump scares because I just go deaf from them all. Like, it's being in the theater and stuff, like just with the loud noise and shit, I'm like, God damn it, my ears hurt. Like, that's what makes me jump. Because other than that, I'm like, visually, I think movies that have built up horror, like haven't really seen The Strangers, but seen a couple scenes where they're lurking, or The Witch, like that kind of does a good job of building it up. Hereditary as well. Can't really think of anything else that really does a good job with it. But those, like even The Conjuring actually has some good moments where it really builds up the horror. But other than that, yeah, I think it definitely could have been a little bit scarier. And I know you and I have talked before about what happened in the movie, like the end result of like what the cause of it was. And again, as much as I want to keep going that, guys, we can't talk about it because it will spoil it, unless you could pick up on it pretty quick when you watch the movie. But, you know, to each their own. For me, this movie is going to be also a 3 out of 5. I've been giving out those a lot lately, but that's just what it feels like. When a very slow season, it's just kind of average storytelling right now. And it kind of sucks because I feel like last year we definitely had we had some solid movies right out the gate in the early months. But, you know, again, that's just the nature of the season. So we'll have to see where things go from here. But overall, solid movie. It was just lacking in certain aspects of it.
Yeah, and you know, I'm usually one to really enjoy when a movie subverts my expectations, and I really like, you know, having the rug pulled out from under me. But in this particular sense, yeah, like you mentioned, we can't really elaborate too much on it for the sake of spoilers. But yeah, for me, the movie didn't work as well in the end as it did when it started, and that was a little bit unfortunate. But for the most part, everything else worked for me. In particular, you know, the cinematography and the use of location and the costume designs. Those really go a long way and do a really good job of setting you in a moment in time that we don't really get to see a lot of. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, the cinematography, the music too, the original score from this movie was also really good and pulse pounding. So I'm a sucker for good visuals and good sound, and this movie had those in spades. Yeah. So for me, this one is going to be a 3 out of 5, not a 2 out of 5. I've been giving a lot of those out lately this year, but I did enjoy this one a lot more than I didn't enjoy it. So yeah, it's one of those. I recommend you go check it out. It does seem like it is a limited release, so not everybody will be able to see it. But if you're in the mood for like an early season horror movie, this one's a decent one to check out.
For sure. From our conversations, I'm actually quite surprised. I thought it was going to be flipped for ratings for this one and Lisa Frankenstein. But you know what, Bern? I respect that. That's fine. Yeah, for those of you who were able to catch this movie, Out of Darkness, and it's kind of limited where may not be available everywhere, but I was able to see it at my local theater, AMC, and I think Bern was able to catch it too. Where did you go? Burbank?
Yeah, it was the bigger theater in Burbank. So yeah, it's usually the one that has those limited movies. And another one I go to is, you know, has more of the general thing. So that's why I'm saying it may not be available like readily for most people, I guess.
Yeah, but for those of you who were able to catch that one, let us know what you thought. Also, Lisa Frankenstein, we did a review on that movie. So, again, with Valentine's Day around the corner, maybe it'd be a movie worth it for that special someone in your life, you know? Give them roses, candies, good dinner, some, you know, liquor, and a good movie. So, but until next time, everyone, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us. We appreciate you all.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.